Lee Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to welcome Lou DiBELLA to the latest edition of DiBella's Digest. 1 week away from the anniversary, the full year of DiBella's Digest in the books next week. Does it feel like a year? It probably feels like longer, doesn't it, Lou?
Feels like I don't remember before this, Dan. I really don't.
It's all we've ever had.
I'm waiting for my second shot. 2 weeks later, return to civilization a little bit more. Hopefully everything will stay on course all over the place and life can get back to normal. Did you watch any boxing last weekend?
I watched most of it. I missed Beterbiev, but apart from that, I pretty much watched all of it. I wanted to ask you specifically about Virgil Ortiz, because a lot of people are calling it a star-making performance. I think he was expected to win, but maybe not.
I thought he won exactly as he was expected to win. Anyone who knew anything about boxing, see, there are certain matchups and certain things in boxing that people who know. And I think on this one, pretty much everyone knew that Mo was going to get knocked out. Now, it was a good fight, though, and Mo gave a good account of himself. But I knew it was going to be a good fight, and I knew Mo was going to give a good account of himself, and I knew Mo was going to be knocked out. And not only did I win my little wager on Virgil Hill by KO, I won the round proposition because I had Ortiz knockout 6 and 7, and obviously he knocked him out in 7. Look, that's not. It was easy to predict this fight. Now that doesn't mean it wasn't a fight worth watching, because as you saw, Mo threw some bombs in that fight, and Ortiz caught some punches. It wasn't a completely one-sided fight. Ortiz dominated in terms of who won the rounds, but he got hit some, and Mo, I thought, gave a good accord of himself. But Hooker's a warrior, but particularly at 147, he doesn't have punch tolerance. He's in with bigger punchers, but even at 140, punch tolerance was really one of his issues. So, it's sort of figured that Ortiz would not. Ortiz is absolutely, one of the emerging young stars in boxing. Is he as big as Ryan Garcia? Probably not, only because of social media presence and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of quality of a fighter, he's one of the best young fighters in the sport. I mean, he's always going to be fun to watch. His style is fun. He could be explosive. He's got a lot of good offense. If I was making there's no reason for them to rush him at the moment, like drive him. Like he still needs a little bit of work on his defense, I think. Move a little bit more, move his head a little bit more, feint a little bit more. But he's got all the potential in the world. He's on my list of guys I want to keep watching.
What did you make of him calling out Terence Crawford immediately after the victory?
I loved it. He's supposed to call out Terence Crawford. And he's supposed to think he can win. And the way George Kambosos believes he's going to beat Teofimo Lopez. Look, you don't think, I had Floyd Mayweather in my office one time when he wasn't even 20 years old yet, telling me he was one of the greatest fighters of all time. And you know what? At the time, I thought he was like an obnoxious little shit. But then when he became one of the greatest fighters of all time, it made me say to myself, hey, the kid believed in himself. You want a fighter to think they're King Kong. So.
Just lost you for a second. But yeah, so while he believes he can beat Terence Crawford and he's ready for that test now, what do you think as an impartial observer?
I'd favor Crawford, particularly when I actually think that Virgil may be a more dangerous fighter on offense, but maybe only in terms of punching power, because Crawford's a really good boxer, and his activity and his efficiency makes him dangerous. I just think he's a little too seasoned for Ortiz. Do I think it's a fight? Yes. Would I think it's be a miracle for Ortiz to win? No. Do I think Ortiz will be the best fighter Crawford has ever fought before? Yes. But a lot of people would be the best fighter Crawford's ever fought before. And for all the talk about Crawford being a boxing god, his resume is pretty shitty.
Yeah, I agree. And it kind of leads on to another subject, which I'm sure you've been attentive of this week, in that Crawford did an interview talking about Canelo, where he said He believes Canelo's always shied away from black fighters, particularly Charlo and Andrade. Just me, it seems ludicrous. Does he have any case at all there?
Stop. I mean, by far and away, Canelo has the best resume of any champion in boxing. It is not even close. Period. Including who he lost to. Period. And stop. We got to stop. And stop with the black and white shit when it has nothing to fucking do with anything. Charlo and why is Canelo and Andrade not made? I don't know. I mean, Andrade's not the best style fight for anybody, and he doesn't really bring money to the table. He doesn't have a particularly big following. He's a very good fighter. I have no doubt in my mind that I don't think that Canelo would have a problem with Andrade, honestly. And I don't think I wouldn't say Canelo's avoiding Andrade. What incentive? It's not that Andrade's not bringing $10 million, $20 million site fees, and he's not elevating any of the. He's not a bigger pay-per-view fight or a bigger DAZN fight than other people. That's why on that one, and Charlo's with PBC, and there's not a whole lot of PBC, DAZN crossover fights going on right now, and Do I think Canelo for enough money would fight Charlo? Yeah, of course I do.
Is this just...
I don't know, man. I think, and particularly if of all the fighters to be making the comment, it's not coming from a guy. I'm not faulting Bud for who he's fought. I'm not saying he wouldn't fight a better fighters, but when you look at Bud's credentials on paper and his record, and you look at Canelo's, you pretty much know Bud shouldn't be talking about it. Right?
Do you think that's why, though? Do you think he's trying to divert attention from how thin his resume is by saying Canelo's avoiding these guys for this reason, rather than just saying he's got a much better resume than I have?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's moving him to do that. Maybe he really believes it. But I don't know why. I mean, Andrade's not bringing people or money to the table, and it's a stinky style for sort of anybody, and I don't know. I mean, Charles. Look, there's a lot of fights not happening because people have different exclusive deals with different platforms. So, you don't blame the fighter when there is that kind of situation. Also,
Crawford should know that better than anyone, surely, because he's
he should know it better than anyone because he's fought nobody. Yeah. He's fought nobody.
He's fought nobody, is what he's trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is he's fought nobody. Yes, that's what I'm trying. Nobody. Yeah.
Well, talking of Canelo, it was announced this week that they've already sold 20,000 tickets for his May the 8th fight with Joe Saunders.
I don't know how many they really. I don't know how many they really sold. I believe. Say. Do I believe? I don't believe anything. I don't believe that Joshua Fury's been signed and it's all done either. So I don't believe. I don't believe a lot of things right now. Now, do I think it's selling really well? Yes, because I think right now people are dying to get outside this summer and go to a big event, and go to a big event in June and be able to see other people. And I think a Canelo fight's a big event, and Saunders is a credible opponent. We discussed that last week. I mean, it doesn't shock me that it's going to sell tickets. But I don't know how many really sold. And look, right now, I think, if you give people the opportunity to feel that they can go safely and see a major event, I think there's going to be a lot of demand,
They fill it, do you think, AT&T?
Is it they're able to go 100%? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because there's the restrictions.
No, they're not. No, they're not going to fill it. No, no way. No how, no form. No shape, no way. But they're going to do a big crowd and a big gate, and that's what they're looking to do. And I don't think people are ready to have people spitting on them from the shoulder to shoulder. I hate to say this, but I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough boxing fans that, given the ones that aren't going to want to be in a crowded, aren't going to I think it'll do a nice number of people, but I don't think it's going to do. No, it's not selling out the stadium. No.
Is that just due to the current climate? It's not the fight or the fighters specifically. It's just no fight at this time would sell out a stadium that big because of what's going on with COVID.
I don't think any fight right now in America would sell out a stadium right now. at this moment. But I also think that there's not a fight I could think of that would sell out a stadium in America right now. I mean, I hate to say that, but I swear. Well, Canelo, Golovkin 2, Price 3, or whatever. I don't know. I mean, Joshua Fury. When you're talking about a stadium, I think Joshua Fury would sell out any football stadium in the UK, right? But I'm not sure it could sell out a stadium in the States. Could it do a big gate, a huge gate? Yeah, a huge gate, even at a stadium. But sell out a stadium means full capacity in a huge, there hasn't been a 50,000 person boxing crowd in America in I don't know how many years.
Yeah. I mean, Canelo, it would have been Pacquiao probably last, wouldn't it? That sort of size in one of his fights in Texas.
Yeah, but he never sold out. Neither did De La Hoya. No one ever. I can't. A minor league stadium maybe where there are 7,000, 10,000 seats, or a small stadium where there. When you're talking 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people, no. No. I'd love it, but I don't see a fight right now that could do that.
So next week is their big anniversary. What are we going to do? What are we going to do to make it special?
I don't know. I think we'll have to go offline and surprise people.
Yeah, I think that's a good
All
idea.
right?
Well, I'm looking
all right, my friend. Good being with you.
Yeah.
And also, you didn't ask me for my prediction on White Povetkin.
This might not go out until after the fight. So it might make you look like a sage, but it also might make you look foolish.
Well, it's going to go out after the fight. So let's see if I'm right after the fight. But I'm going to say Dillian does not get caught this time, and that he does the catching. So my prediction on this fight is White by late stoppage.
That's exactly what I predicted about 3 hours ago to someone. So, yeah, let's hope we're both right.
All right, my friend. Be well.
And you, Lou. Take care. Bye-bye.